Hello, and welcome to the Access Granted Men's Retreat info session. I am really excited for tonight, and I'm thrilled that both Tom and Crystal are here as well, because for those of you that are watching and listening later, you're going to get a whole bunch of information tonight, and I'm really excited to hopefully see all of you on the other side of this at the actual retreat. So we're going to start off tonight just by going around and doing some introductions, and then I'll share with you all a little bit about the agenda. It's very basic, and if you have questions, please go ahead and reach out to any of us here on the Zoom. But you can always email me at mo@iloveitwhen.org. And then just so you know as well, in the info section of this YouTube link, I'm going to put a special link to a lower ticket price for the retreat. So if you sign up within the next week or so, you'll get an additional $111 off. So the ticket will be $14.44. And I wanted to do that as a special for those of you that choose to take a moment and listen to this info session. So check that out. So my name is Margaret Smith. I go by Mo, and I've had my company, I Love It When, for 5.5 years now. And I've been doing retreats since 2017. And this is the first time I've done specifically a men's retreat. So this is brand new territory for me, and I'm really excited about it. Tom, want to go next?
Cool. Tom Harrison. I'm Mo's partner. I am the founder, owner, and chief play officer of Planet Mind Play Lab. It is a company built around play programming, mostly around using Nerf as a platform for intergenerational play, as well as workshops, educational and fun workshops. A little bit about my background. I'm a retired attorney, 16 years of various litigation practices. I am an entrepreneur. I ticked it off and realized this is my fourth company in my life. I've got a background in coaching, education, training, marketing. I'm also a father. My son is 18 and he is I'm a very proud dad of a freshman at the University of Denver.
Love it. Crystal?
I'm getting over a cold. My name's Crystal Novak, and I have been doing spiritual consulting for 45 years. What does that mean? It means that I get information all the time from source, and from various representatives of source. So I can read people, help them understand what's blocking them, help them move these blocks, what's blocking them, release old energy, look at contracts, soul contracts that they may no longer be appropriate for that person. It's holding them back. Can look at ancestral lineage information and see if that's an issue. Look at present time to see potentially what programming you got growing up, as we all do, might be limiting your consciousness. Because our perception is our reality. So if you change a perception, then you will change your reality. So I'm going to be attending this retreat on Sunday, and myself and two other individuals that I've done healing work as a team before. We're going to do healing work on all the participants if they want it. You don't have to if you don't want it. It's amazing. I don't want to front load you for something and create an expectation, but you will have something shift, whether it does in that moment, when it does a day later, maybe a week later, but you will experience release. Some people walk away pain-free. They've had pain for years. Other people finally stop all that noise in their head. It can manifest in lots of different ways. So I'm attending the Q&A so that I can have a better sense of how this retreat's going to go, so that I will feel more knowledgeable about what role I can play farther down the road.
Love it. Thank you. And I was asking Crystal before we got started tonight, just because you might hear from her again. She's been to one of my retreats before, and we're good friends, and so she's also just aware of how I work. And so I just want to say, as you're watching the video, if you feel drawn to reach out to Crystal beforehand and even just ask her about me, ask her about what I do, ask her more about what she does, if you're curious. Because I know energy healing might be new to some of you who are watching. You don't need to know anything about it before you come to this retreat. You don't need to know anything specifically at all, other than just to be yourself. But I just want to say Crystal's always very approachable and welcoming, so please reach out to her if you feel called to. So our agenda tonight is really basic, and it's just I'm going to start off by sharing a little bit about why I felt led to do this retreat with Tom, and then I'm going to share my screen and share just the basic agenda. We don't have all the specifics nailed down. That often doesn't come until really the last like 3, 4 weeks before the actual retreat, as we know more about who's attending. And then Tom's going to share a little bit about the why behind why he's doing this with me. And then the three main pain points that he and I have talked about many times that we find come up repeatedly in the men that we know around us. And so we want to make sure to bring those pain points up because you might recognize one of those in you. And that's a big part as to why we're doing this retreat. And then some come back to me for a second, and I'm just going to share with you the three main takeaways that you're going to receive from coming to this retreat. Because I know that's always something that people want to know, especially if you've never attended an event like this. I know a lot of men have never. Maybe you've gone to a workshop or you've done like a professional development or you've had therapy. But for a lot of guys, going to a retreat has not been something they grew up with as a possibility or an opportunity. And so I know some people have said to me, like, what am I going to get out of these 3 days? And so I'm going to share a little bit about what, the three main takeaways I want you to receive from this. Uh, and overall, just talk about our goal and our intention behind this retreat and behind everything that I do is always to essentially help you feel more peace, joy, and fulfillment in life, period. And so that's our goal essentially behind this retreat. So as far as the why behind this retreat for me, uh, I have noticed in my years of personal growth, which I've now been like intentionally doing since it was really probably 32, so about 12 years now, I have just noticed that a lot of the things that have been more socially acceptable for me to explore have not always been, I've not always seen as many men in that arena. And I grew up with three brothers, and I grew up in a space where feelings were talked about often, emotions were talked about. And as I grew up, I just realized that is not the norm. It's not the norm for people in general and families always, and it's definitely not the norm for a lot of men. And so I really want to create a space like I always do, and attempt to do it and tend to do at my retreats and with my coaching. I want to create a space where you have an opportunity to experience that energy of just feeling safe, accepted, and in a place where you can ask questions about anything. Um, and I care. I care a lot about people, and that people, doesn't matter what gender. I care a lot about people. And so I wanted uh, to go into this experience with Tom and really provide something that perhaps you've never been offered before as a man or someone who identifies as a man in this world, and give you as safe a space as possible. And so the other interesting question, I guess I should say, that has come up since we launched this retreat, it's just been asked by one person, but I'm sure it's in the minds of many others if one person has asked it. And that is, why am I, as a woman, co-leading this men's retreat? And that is because I care, period, the end. I care and I have things to offer you. And it doesn't mean that I'm going to understand everything that you've been through or understand what it's like to be a man. That's not the point of me being there. It's that I have tools and I have things that you don't know about that I want to share with you that have helped me as a human, period. And so I also, I guess the last thing I'd say about that after Tom and I talked about this today is I now also see how, in a way, this retreat is also going to be countering the patriarchal system that we are still governed by in so many ways, especially in the US. And so I want to be a part of that. And I want to be a part of that by helping more men recognize the power that they have. And by giving you all these tools and helping you assess, y- all of you who attend are actually going to be some of the most powerful change agents, because you're going to be able to impact other men just by simply being and being aware of these tools and using them. So that's a bit about my why behind doing this. Now I'm going to share with you just briefly the agenda that we have worked up. Let me share my screen. So if you go to my website, iloveitwhen.org, and then just go to the event under events here, Access Granted Men's Retreat, and you scroll down, you'll see this basic outline. And again, we're keeping it very open because we are still solidifying things. But we want to give you an idea of what you're going to experience and what to expect. And so that's why we put this on here, because I know some people, if they've never been, get very anxious of like, will there be a lunch break? Can I step outside if I need to? Absolutely. You're here of your own free will. And so if at any time you feel overwhelmed or you need to step out and take a break, you are always welcome to, obviously. Um, and so if you're local to Everett, Washington, you might be able to find that you could drive here to Kindred Healing Space in downtown Everett and then leave and go home and sleep in your own bed. Otherwise, down at the bottom of this page, I have some hotels that I suggest that are within walking distance. And so each night will end between 5 o'clock and 6 o'clock. We'll have some time to just kind of chat and connect and talk, and then we'll probably walk somewhere for dinner. And you're welcome to join us for dinner, or if you feel like you're done, you can be done for the day too. But we want to make sure to plan time together where we can just hang out and just connect. And so that's what that time is for. So this opening day on Friday will be with Tom and I, just doing a couple different activities to connect, get to know one another a bit more, and set the space and the intentions for the weekend. And then we'll have lunch. And usually what we do is we go out and grab something local and then bring it back to the yoga studio and just eat lunch together. There's a big open area by the kitchen. And that'll again just be more time for connection, take a break, do anything you need to do. And then that afternoon of May 29th, my goal is to have a breathwork practitioner there. And so if you've not done breathwork before, you can look some examples up on YouTube. But essentially, Tom's going to be talking a bit more about how important the physical aspect of working with his body has been in his healing journey. And I want to make sure that we include some activities around that, including breath work. Breath work is super powerful and can be really a game changer in combination with like what Crystal was talking about. Breath is just incredible. So that's my intention for Friday. And then Saturday, we'll have two speakers. And again, we're confirming who those people will be, but they are going to be all around these topics of giving you tools that you can utilize on your own when you leave the retreat. So that might be breath work, that might be some Tai Chi, that might be some sort of body work that you can combine with other things that we'll be talking about this weekend that have to do with moving energy, both in your body and in your life. So same thing, we'll have kind of two sessions that day and then dinner. And then on the third day in the morning time is when we'll be with Crystal and Matt and Kai for your individual healing sessions. And like Crystal said, you definitely don't have to. And I highly, highly encourage you to. Because one, it's not scary. Two, it's game changing. If you've never experienced it before, it can be a total game changer in your life. And you will be able to watch other people go through theirs too. And so, like, if we needed to, for example, I could always sit in the chair first and have them work on me first so you can see what it's like. But essentially, it's usually somewhere around 5 to 10 minutes each person. And the three of them will work around you and they all sense energy differently. And so they work together really well. I've had sessions with all three of them multiple times now. Um, and I'm very specific and particular about who I invite to speak and interact at all retreats, all things that I do, classes, whatever it is. And I trust Crystal and Kai and Matt explicitly. They're very, very good at what they do. So that'll be the morning time. And then same thing, we'll have our final session together that afternoon where we will probably focus on answering any last questions that you have from the weekend, because between the work that we do on Friday and Saturday, and then the work that Crystal, Kai, and Matt do that morning, other things will bubble to the surface. And so we'll have that time in the afternoon to go over any other questions and help you kind of begin to think about how can you integrate everything you've learned back into your day-to-day life. Because it's one thing to be surrounded by people who are open-minded, curious, and present during this experience, and then take all this back to your normal everyday life and try to find ways to integrate it can be a challenge sometimes. And so that's what we'll do that Sunday afternoon. And then we'll end by having dinner together. And so as we finalize speakers and as people start to sign up for this retreat, we will announce it over social media and on the website as the speakers are finalized. We'll put that information up there. But that's essentially kind of the essence of the agenda. And then after the retreat, I usually wait about 2 weeks. And then Tom and I will host a follow-up session where we check in with you on how you're doing, how your integration's going, and answer any other questions because, like Crystal kind of mentioned too, after this weekend, the energy will continue to move through you for the days, weeks, and months, sometimes years after experiences. And so things will come up in the first 2 weeks that you might be like, oh my gosh, what do I do with this? Right, let me just stop my screen. So that's a bit about the agenda. Tom, I'm going to hand it off to you to talk about your why.
Okay, my why. So you might see me glance at my notes as I talk for a little bit. I guess first I want to say what is a retreat and what is a retreat as a man? What is a retreat? And I'll just speak for me. I've attended a couple of different concentrated week-long and multi-day experiences in my life. These are things that I've sought out intentionally to level up on something. So years ago, I sought to be a fiction writer professionally. And I wanted to level up my fiction writing skills. So I did research and I found a retreat that was happening, and at the time I'm living in New York City. That was happening in Kentucky. Talked to the retreat organizers, got good vibes, and put myself into this week-long experience where I attended classes, got to meet with some folks, get industry perspective, and have some real concentrated time where I could just wrestle with drafting and working, plus space to commune. And so I've also done a real concentrated, not great experience called Landmark, and where they follow a model of we're going to break you down so that you crack open, and then they say they're going to build you up, but you really just like, okay, now you're done. Now go forth.
Thank you for bringing that up. I forgot we were going to talk about that.
Yeah, and I would say that this experience is professional development for your body, tailored to men and folks who identify as male. It is much more the former experience that I reaching out. I want to level up, but this is for leveling up as a person. So the why for me of a retreat experience and delivering and like really trying to help a group level up and go through something is, I think it comes down to the conception of, well, I guess I'll approach it this way. There are basically some truisms that, like these are Captain Obvious truisms. But if we did a poll of most men, they would kind of disagree with these things. So the truisms are: mind is part of the body. Thoughts are part of the body. Feelings are part of the body. Yeah, if we take 5 seconds, we realize that we're a body. But I was definitely raised. I have, my experience is being taught to and thinking of, hey, your thoughts are not quite your own. Listen to me instead. Your feelings, don't listen to your feelings. You got to get work done. You got to get this done. Don't listen to your feelings. Your feelings are a distraction and an obstruction. And that's just not the case. These are, when you suppress, well, I guess I really want to talk in the positive as much as possible. So thoughts, body, feelings, that the entire body is what we need for health and to function. So when you think of them as separate, and when you act and behave as if they're separate, it has real big consequences on health, period, as well as big consequences on decision making and thought, because they are not separate. So there's that. And then I guess the other piece that we'll talk about at the retreat, we're really going to delve into this, is how body and connecting with your body and really being in it and working with your body, how that impacts a few areas, fundamental areas of life, which is connections with other people. So romantic relationships, friendships, and just social connections in general. Then that plays out in work, and then in non-work life. So we're really going to delve into that. I have definitely noticed that there is a fairly big, significant, huge disconnect between what we are told and taught are how friendships should operate, how romantic relationships should operate, how work should operate, just how getting along with other people should operate, and the actual reality. And so, just I guess briefly what I mean by that, I'll give some examples. I know that I was taught and kind of got messages and my early experiences around friendships are, hey, be friends with your roommates, be friends with your work colleagues, and and then that's kind of all you need. Go to church, be friends with your church congregants, and go to some networking events, and then you're good. You're going to find your people, and everything's going to be good. My experience is I didn't get along with my roommates. Most of them were, just either poor hygiene or just like jerks. Work colleagues were mostly annoying. And networking of folks I would meet in networking environments. And this continues to this day. I'm not going to say names, but it continues to this day. I'll reach out to somebody and say, hey, we should get together. Let's do this. And we'll set a date. And then that date will get rescheduled or outright canceled. And when we reschedule and do get together, then it's almost like crickets. There's a lot of awkwardness. What's going on here? And I believe that disconnect is because, friendships, our bodies really don't work that way. They don't work to sit across from each other and just talk. Studies have shown that when people get together and do a joint activity, it does not have to be syncopated, it can be competitive, it can be collaborative, or it can be rhythmically together. But studies have shown when you do that, we're friendlier and we feel friendlier, we feel more harmonious. So things like getting together and over a beer, that's really not a joint activity. Watching something on a TV screen, not really a joint activity. Now, if you go dancing, if you take in something live, if you do build something together, if you play a game together, that's joint activity. And then you start to build a connection. But that flies in the face of what we're told is the way to build a friendship, the way to build a relationship. I believe the crux, the reason for that disconnect is the reason we're told, hey, do the passive thing and just get together and it's really easy, is because they're trying to sell you something. Trying to sell you more beer, trying to sell you more wine, trying to sell you sports tickets, trying to sell you movie tickets or streaming services. And rather than getting together and actually connecting with human beings. So in connecting in a way that actually makes you feel friendly, makes you feel harmonious, gets you actually connected to fellow human beings. So we will be really delving into that really notion of what body is, and how that impacts our health, and then how that notion of body, how do you take that notion of body and authentically connect with fellow human beings? What I hope we can show is that it is a whole lot simpler than we think. We just, despite ourselves, we just overthink things. And so the things that actually bring us together, they click and they're simple and they're cool. And that's because we've been doing them for literally tens of thousands of years together. And when we stray from that, and when we say, well, it should be more complicated because we're more evolved, we're not. Two, what worked still works. There's a writer, I don't know, can't remember what writer it is, but the analogy is that we if we think of our bodies as hardware and our minds as software, which really breaks down because we're just one body. But we've had the same hardware for 50,000 plus years. This notion that we have some complex and really evolved and sophisticated software is just wrong. It's the same hardware. All right, so that's my long why. Come to the retreat.
That wasn't that long. That was great. That was good. All right, so as far as the three main takeaways that I wanted to mention after this, when you can kind of think about how you're going to summarize this, because if you're thinking about coming, I want you to know that this is both a personal and a professional growth opportunity, because some of the things that we're going to talk about are actually things that will help you in all different sections of your life, including work. And so I've had people attend my retreats as part of their professional growth. So I wanted to make sure to mention that as well. But you can kind of think of it in three sections. One, we're going to help you assess where you're currently at. So we're going to look at different sections of your life, friendships, like Tom talked about, your family, your health, spirituality, money, your physical environment. We're going to look at all the different aspects of your life, and we're just going to check in with you intuitively, have you check in with yourself. How do I feel about these different parts of my life? Where do I feel like I'm not as happy? Where do I feel like, hey, this part feels actually really good? Uh, I think this doesn't just isn't just for men, but in general, we don't slow down enough oftentimes to check in. One, because we're not really encouraged to slow down at all. It's all about how fast can we go right now, right? But then also, oftentimes I find that people don't want to slow down because it scares them to even think about, oh, I'm not so happy in that relationship part of my life. I don't even want to look at that. Let me just not look at, let me put it back here and let me just not even look at it. So we're going to help you assess kind of where you're at, just to kind of help you gauge. And then we're going to teach you to look at your life through what I like to call your energy glasses. So if you can imagine putting on a pair of glasses and you are going to start to look at everything in the world around you, your business, your professional life, your personal life, with these energy glasses. And you're going to start to see, okay, how is energy at work in my life? So and the reason I'm having you do this is because it helps bring a different perspective to what you're doing and it helps you start to think differently about things. Because energy cannot be created or destroyed, it can only be moved or transferred. And so when you start to think about it from this perspective, sometimes things will come to light differently. So we're going to have you put on your energy glasses, and then we're going to give you tools to help you move and shift the energy both in your body and in your environment and in your life. And so I wanted to kind of give you that three-step process for like the three main takeaways that you're going to get from this retreat in general. That's kind of the process that we're going to take you through. And so those tools are going to be things that, again, you can use in your personal life, professional life, family, across the board. Uh, yeah. And again, our overall goal and intention is to create a safe environment and a place where you can connect on a deep level and feel safe enough to share things, not only with us as a group, but with yourself, even. All right, Crystal, I'm going to hand it off to you to share anything else you want to share about yourself. And maybe if you want to walk them through what it's been like when you take someone through, when you and Kai and Matt have done energy healing together on someone, maybe even using me as an example, things that might come up
Mm.
if they've never done this before.
So we'll sit you in a chair and we will help you get grounded. And if you're not experiencing grounding, it's a way of being fully present in your body with an energetic connection to the planet. Many of us tend to live from chest level up or even farther out of our bodies. We tend to breathe very shallow, yeah. So the first thing you might even notice is that all of a sudden you're grounded and you feel really present and like solid in your body. And that might be a new experience in and of itself. Then as Mo mentioned, each Kai, myself, and Matt, we say that we all sing the same song, but we're each singing it, different harmony part of it. So each one of us starts looking for stuff and going in and checking stuff out. Kai and Matt tend to not necessarily talk a whole lot about what they're getting per se. I'm very intuitive, and so I'm not surprised often that I get messages for the person that we're working on. So that might happen. It could be passed on loved one, it could be your guides, that type of thing, angels. Um, and if you're new to this, and this might sound kind of really out there, but if you consider the fact that everything's made out of energy and that you're at a retreat where you're looking at how to be in your body and how to utilize your body in an authentic way, then why shouldn't we be able to access our own energy and learn how to clear our energy fields and do that type of work? Um, and you can also say when you sit, when we start to work with you, like, I've got this pain in my left shoulder and I've had it for years, or I've got this or that, that we can then definitely focus on that. If you feel like I've just always had this low pressure pain in my lower back, focus on that.
Mhm.
So it's almost like going through a big energetic CAT scan of like, okay, what's popping off right now? What's showing up on the grid here that
Mhm.
we can work with you and talk to you about it and help let it go. Um, and we bring a very high frequency level of energy. Um, so once we are complete, you might want to sit in that chair for a little bit just to get your bearings. Um, we've had some people say they feel like they're really high or intoxicated, um, just because it's such a big flush of energy coming through your system.
Hmm.
And as I said earlier, there will be shift. It's impossible for it not to shift. It might be more subtle, it might show up a different way. Um, I always encourage people, if they're open to it, that maybe journal for the next few days after, well, especially after going to a retreat, but after having a healing session done, so that you can notice any little things that might be different that you hadn't noticed before. And obviously, you can ask us questions while it's going on and happening. Um, we've all been doing this work for at least 30 years. Um, so when you get us all three together, in fact,
It party.
sometimes the energy is so intense that Matt will get really silly and he almost seems like he's drunk because the energy is so high and it feels so good. You just get super blissed out. And it's a huge buzz. So we might get silly while we're doing stuff as well.
Mhm.
Um, it's not super serious and nobody can talk or anything like that. It's
Yeah.
no, it's friendly, it's open. Um, There is nothing about this retreat or any of the work that's going to happen that is a gotcha. We're not waiting for you to show one part of yourself and then like jump on you for it. No, this is a place where you can come and be in a safe container. Everybody's there for growth and personal opportunities to explore their own selves and be able to open more to themselves. Um, and you will witness other people have those same shifts as well. Um, so you're not isolated while you're there. You're part of a little community in that moment.
Mhm.
Uh, and you won't forget it. It'll stay with you for the rest of your life. So,
Oh, love it. Whenever I do these info sessions, it always gets me so excited for the actual event. And I was telling these two before we recorded tonight that this week, actually, I started having some visualizations of seeing a group of men actually there for the retreat. And whenever I can start to visualize something, that's usually when I know it's going to happen, is when I can start to actually see faces of people in the space. So, yeah,
Yeah, I'm super excited too.
yeah.
It's gonna be fun. Be prepared to move. We will be moving together as well, moving that energy around our bodies, using it to connect with one another.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Checked our thing to see if we had missed any other questions or anything, but I think we've hit them all. Uh, the last thing I'll say is please reach out with any other questions that maybe we didn't answer in this session today that you might have about specifics. Uh, there is a payment plan option, I should say too, when you go to check out, you can pick something called Klarna. And so it'll break it down into, I believe, 4 or 6 months worth of payments, if that's helpful. But yeah, don't just, I would say take the leap and take the chance and do something different outside of what you've uh, perhaps done in the past to receive help. And I also just know that the concept of receiving help is, or asking for help is also not easy for any human at all. And so I just really want to encourage you that even if you don't feel like you're going through something right now and you don't really need help, but if you're looking to level up, like Tom talked about, or even, just be a part of something where growth always happens. I mean, it doesn't matter where I'm at. Whenever I go through these experiences, I'm just as much of a participant as everybody else. And so part of the reason I do them is because I receive something every single time. Um,
Yeah, if I could speak on that, I mean,
yeah.
I mean, I've also experienced as an adult those two retreat experiences I mentioned. But within the context of sports and within the context of school, we've all experienced retreats. So if you've done organized sports, and I did organized sports, I was a swimmer. I did clinics. And so there were times when there were a couple of, like a special practice. I remember this one time, Jim Neighbor, this Olympic backstroker,
Mhm.
gave us a clinic. And that's a retreat. It's a specific experience. And we got in the water with him. He's coaching us and showing us different things, and he's demoing things. And it's about leveling up. It's about learning some techniques.
Mhm.
Um, Within academia, we know, we've done the separate class, we've done the SAT prep course with me, it was a bar exam and took a class. We do professional development. We know that in order to level up skills, we need to put ourselves in an environment with other human beings and get poured into. So let's not overcomplicate it by,
Mhm.
and I'm not speaking to us three, but when folks who are watching this, don't overthink it, don't overcomplicate it. A retreat is just a word for an experience we're all going to get together and communally, which is the way we actually learn. Communally, we're going to um, improve.
Mhm.
And it's fun. It's fun. I look back at all these different experiences, whether it's academic, sports, or professional development, or the writers retreat. They are super fun. I mean, I laughed, I made good connections, good friendships, saw things I'd never seen before. So in addition to learning, and learning is fun in and of itself, it's like these are really fun experiences.
Mhm. Yeah, thank you for mentioning that. It is just like a class. It's just like a class 3 days in a row. And
Yeah.
it made me flash back to the retreat I did back in September that Crystal was at too. And I remember at one point Crystal looked at me and she's like, "Are you having a good time?" And I was like, "This is the best time of my life right now." I'm having so much fun. It is ridiculous.
Yeah.
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 It just feels so good to be uh given that space, like you said, to just commune with other people and to share openly and not be, there's no judgment and be curious and ask questions and uh yeah, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing
Hmm.
feeling.
Yeah.
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 All right. Well, I think I'm going to end our video here on this really high note. So if you're watching, we cannot wait to see you in a couple of months. Um, yeah, again, reach out with any questions. And thank you so much for
Yeah.
taking the time
Please
to
do.
watch this.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Crystal, for being here, and thank you
Thanks, Crystal.
for doing
Totally
this with us.
welcome. Take care, everybody.
All right. We'll see you at the retreat.
Yes.